I'm back. Okay. So, I'm a little out of breath because I just ran downstairs, but I want to make a video about my Trikafta update, because I haven't done that in a long time, and I feel like it's really important. So, I'm gonna do it. I don't know, I don't really remember how I did my old ones, but I'm gonna explain what Trikafta is and what it does. Then I'm gonna explain how I was before Trikafta, how I was when I first started on Trikafta, and how I am now on Trikafta. So here we go. If you have never seen my videos, don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, whatever, a quick rundown of Trikafta and why I need it. I have what's called cystic fibrosis, which basically my lungs make a bunch of extra mucus, my intestines make a bunch of extra mucus, my pancreas makes a bunch of extra mucus, my whole body just fucking does that all the time for no reason, just to fuck with me. The medications that they have, that I still take them, but the medications that they normally prescribe for people with CF are geared towards fixing the symptoms. So, for example, I have a medicine, oh here it is, called Creon that I take. I take it before I eat, and it helps me absorb my food better to help me gain weight and maintain weight. I also take a medication, it's a nebulizer that helps to thin out the mucus in my lungs so that it's easier to get out. I also take a medicine that basically makes me cough so that it can help the mucus get out. I developed diabetes because of my CF, so I take insulin. There's a bunch of different medicines, but anyways, most of the medications that they've had, or all of them I think, have been designed to fix a specific symptom. And what Trikafta is it, instead of fixing, it does fix the symptoms, but it goes deeper than that. It fixes the root of the problem. So the issue with CF, like I said, is all this mucus is being built. But why? Why is our body building mucus? Or creating mucus for no fucking reason? The reason that it does that is because our cells in our body don't know how to let salt go through them, and so they don't get, I guess, the nutrition from the salt or something. I'm not sure, but for whatever reason, if salt can't go through, or sodium, or I don't fucking know, but if it can't go through your cells, then your cells make a bunch of extra fucking mucus, and that's what CF is. So what this medicine does, instead of fixing our cough or our stomach or our diabetes or like whatever, it goes and it actually alters our cells in our body to let the salt, not perfectly, but it helps the salt to go through them. Because I'm trying to think, I have to watch another video, but there's like two things that it does, because one of them is like it makes the opening bigger, and then the other one helps to like force it through or something. I can't quite remember, but it does two big things that basically let our body absorb the salt that we eat, and then allows it to be used and functioned in our body because it's absorbed. And so that's why it's so incredible, because I've been taking it, and so it's been fixing all of these random ass symptoms because it's fixing the root of the problem instead of just the random shit that happens because of the problem. So to give a little bit of background about how I was before Trikafta, I don't, for the record, I don't have a lot of reference to how other people are. I know what I've read, I know what my doctors have told me. I don't really know people with CF. We're actually not allowed to be around each other because there's a greater risk of us infecting each other. Kind of like, imagine, you know how the COVID thing is right now, where nobody should be around each other? That's how CF people have to be with each other all the time. For me, it's not a big issue because I don't really, there were a few people that I went to school with that had it, and we just had to have separate classes, but I don't have like family members and stuff with it. I know one of the girls in my class, her older sister has it. It's caused by a recessive gene, so neither of my parents had it, but they both had the gene, like they had the gene, but they didn't have two genes, and you have to have two of the CF genes to have CF. But they each had one of the CF genes, and then I got both of them like a little bitch. And my brother didn't get both of them. He doesn't have CF. And my sister's adopted, so she doesn't have CF. And it's primarily, from my understanding, CF affects like white people a lot more than other races. So like in China, it's not common at all because it's just not. So that's where my sister's adopted from. So anyways, to get back on track, a little background about where I was before I started Trikafta. Well, right before I started, I was actually evaluated for a lung transplant because my lungs were so sick. By that point, I had cut back my hours at work to just work 2 days so that I could apply for disability, because there's like, when you get disability, there's a limit of how much you can work and how much income you can make. And I cannot fucking work full time. Even now, I can't work full time, and I feel so much better. But like, I just can't do that. So, but I didn't want to just like never work at all, because then I'll get severely depressed probably. So I balanced it to 2 days a week, which was fine. I mean, it was still a struggle. It was really a struggle. Now it's not so much. But again, we're going to talk about before I started. I would have trouble. I had trouble sleeping, which I've had trouble ever since I can remember, because I'd be coughing in the middle of the night. I never got good rest ever. I'm going to start. I know I already started talking a little bit, but I want to start more about how I felt, and then I'll get into the numbers. Standing up was a struggle. Sometimes sitting up was a struggle. I couldn't shower. I would have to take baths. Part of that was because my port was accessed a lot, but even when it wasn't accessed, I hadn't taken a shower in at least a year. Just because, like, I can't stand. I couldn't cook, so I was wasting money going out to eat, money that I didn't have because I wasn't fucking working very much, and I didn't get disability at that point. And also, like, I'm getting shit from, like, fucking Arby's. Like, that's not nutritious food, but it is a lot of calories. I had trouble eating in general. It was just terrible. I had trouble breathing, obviously. I developed diabetes because of my CF. Walking from my bed to my door was such a struggle. Everything, like anything that wasn't me laying in bed doing nothing, was a struggle. Rolling over in bed was a struggle. Like, it was so bad. And it's like, it's I don't even know, it's just so strange. Like, I was looking back on my old videos the other day that I have on YouTube about, you know, my CF and stuff, and I'm like, it was really sad to, like, see myself like that, because now I'm feeling a lot better now, but, like, it's just, I don't know, it's just really sad to know that I felt that way, and that it's not just me. I'm not the only person in the world with CF. Like, there's so many people that have felt that way, or do still feel that way, and oh my god, it's terrible. It had a huge effect on my mental health, which is something I don't hear a lot of. Like, not that I can almost guarantee that it happens a lot, but I don't hear it talked about a lot, where people with chronic illness, how it affects their mental health. So I do want to talk about that. It does get kind of dark. There's some mention of, like, suicide and stuff. So if that's gonna make you feel weird, I guess don't watch. But I will try to be as, like, tame as I can, but I do just want to throw that out there before I start talking. My mental health, because everything was such a struggle, I felt very worthless and very useless. I knew that I was alive, but I felt like I wasn't contributing to anything. I felt like I was letting people down because, you know, my friends want to hang out with me, and I either would cancel, or I'd hang out and I'd be sitting like this the whole time, almost asleep because I can't talk because I'm so tired. Um, it was like I felt like I was watching my entire, like, this is gonna sound dramatic, but it's really how I felt. Like I was watching my entire life kind of just like disintegrate, even though I was still alive, and it was really frustrating because, like I said, I don't know other people with CF, and even when I had my friends, telling me like, oh, it's okay, or like we get it, or whatever, like all that kind of language was clearly appreciated, but I felt like I was letting people down left and right all the fucking time, just because I just couldn't do it, and then I felt like I was such a loser and like making excuses when I knew they weren't excuses. Like I knew I literally couldn't fucking do it, but I don't know. I was worried that other people saw it that way. And I definitely, I mean, just about every day I'd lay in bed and just like dream about killing myself. Like it was just really bad. And the only reason I didn't was because I knew I might be able to get a lung transplant and that my life might get better. Um, but if it wasn't for that, oh god, I would have been gone. Yeah, it was really bad and it was really dark and I just felt so disconnected. And that's something that I deal with anyways, like not even regarding my CF, but specifically with my CF, like I felt very disconnected from everybody, and I felt like I didn't want to take on any responsibility because I couldn't do it because I was so depressed, and physically I had no energy. Like it was like all these mental blocks and then all these physical blocks that even when I'd get the mental energy, like, oh my god, I want to do this or that, or I want to work hard, or like whatever the case, like I want to like do something for real. Then I had all these physical barriers to try to have to overcome to like do something, and it was just really, it just felt like everything I was doing was like climbing a fucking mountain, like the simplest things that other people just do, like getting up to go to the bathroom. I mean, I'd lay in bed for 15 minutes, like, oh god, I have to pee. I think I'll just wait and hold it until like I really have to go because I can't even imagine like standing up right now. Like it was just, and that's just really what it was. Like I don't know. Um, in terms of numbers, before Trikafta, my PFTs ranged from about 22, I think, was my lowest PFT, which I'll tell you what that is in just a second, if you don't know. The lowest was 22, the highest was maybe 35-ish. It was less than 40, but I think it was in the late 30s somewhere. Maybe like 37, something like that. But still, that was good for me. To explain what a PFT is, it's basically a breathing test that says how much air you breathe in and out and how strong your lungs are. And they compare it to people the same age, sex, and height as you. And it's a percentage. So what I'm saying is my highest percentage that I did when I was at my healthiest within the last few years, the best I could do was about a third of what somebody else could do. Somebody else my age, sex, and height. I was about a third of what I should have been. Which is normal for people with CF to have lower PFTs, clearly, because their lungs are messed up. But, I mean, come on. And my lowest was about a fifth of what somebody my age, sex, and height could do. And it was terrible. And it's really, I mean, even a third, like, it was just so much energy that I had to be putting into breathing every fucking day. For eating, I should have been eating roughly 4,000 calories a day. On my best days, I'd probably eat about 3,000. On my worst, I'd eat like 500. Because again, one of the lovely, lovely symptoms of being depressed is not having an appetite. And when my physical body would start to deteriorate, my mental health would start to deteriorate, and I wouldn't be hungry. And I could sit there, my stomach would be growling, trying to eat itself, and I'd be like, I'm so hungry, but I have no appetite. And it was like terrible, because then it turned into this whole, I just felt like a failure, like what the fuck is wrong with me? Why can't I fucking eat? I know I'm hungry. What? And now I'm like letting myself die because I'm not eating, but I'm not fucking hungry. Like, it was just really stressful. And it was like that thought process happened with every little thing that I was supposed to do, that I couldn't just get up and do it. I was like, why can't I do it? And it just turned into this really like intense like self-hatred type thing. So I think that's everything beforehand. One thing that I forgot to say, I mentioned my diabetes, but I forgot to put it in there for the beforehand or the afterhand. So anyways, before I started taking Trikafta, I mean, to be honest, I suck at checking my blood sugars, I suck at doing insulin, all that stuff, but when I wouldn't do my insulin, all that kind of stuff, my blood sugars would be up to anywhere in the 300 range to the 500 range. I don't think I've ever gotten in the 600s, but if you don't know much about diabetes, basically when you eat lots of sugar or carbs, your blood sugar goes up, and then your body says, oh, let me make some insulin and bring it back down, and within 2 hours it's supposed to be back to normal, which is, it kind of depends on who you talk to, but it's supposed to be anywhere between like 80 to like 150-ish. 150 is a little bit high, but it's not like dangerous, I guess. But like mine, like they tell me they want me to be between 80 and 130, and yeah, before this it would be all the way in like the 500s, like, and I would eat and I would have to take a nap right afterwards because I'd be so exhausted, because basically what ends up happening is I don't know, it just puts sugar in your blood and then it makes you tired. I don't really understand it, honestly, but yeah, so I'd get really tired. But I'll mention later in how I am now, obviously, how my diabetes is doing now, but yeah. When I first started, I want to say I was between 100 and 105 pounds, because I had started right when I think I had been on antibiotics for about 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. I was like almost done with them, but that already made me healthy, and then I started Trikafta. So my lowest, oh, I forgot to say, beforehand, my lowest weight was 95 pounds, and I would usually range between 95 and 105. 105 was when I was on antibiotics. As soon as I would finish, I would drop down to at least 100, because I couldn't fucking eat. And people with CF are supposed to eat so much more than people without CF, because we can't absorb things right. So we have to eat extra so that our body absorbs what it's supposed to. And I was using all this energy for coughing and moving and breathing, so I need extra energy for all that stupid shit that my body was doing. So it was like I needed to eat a lot, and I was barely eating anything. So yeah, so when I first started Trikafta, within a month, I jumped up to like 115 pounds, probably, like a month or two. And I kept gaining weight, so it good. My PFTs, after like, it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks, after I started, it was at 41%, which again, my highest before this was at 30, between 35 and 38, something like that. I don't remember. So that's within a week or two of starting Trikafta, it jumped to above 40, which is actually a really big deal. When people with CF are looking at getting a lung transplant, they look at you to see if you should get a lung transplant if you are consistently below 40%. So the fact that I'm above 40 is really incredible. It's like a milestone. It was also a milestone when I started gaining weight, because that affects my lung function. It gives me that extra energy and that kind of cushion for me to get sick, and it has this extra energy to push towards fixing my lungs and making me better, whereas before I had no stored energy. to be helping me get better. So I just had nothing, and that's why I would get so sick all the time. I felt within a day, when I took that medicine, within an hour, I could feel it working. I was coughing more because there was all this gunk in my lungs. So it was like all coming out. It was really disgusting. Like if you've seen someone coughing, how they do for COVID, like in a bag, glops of mucus, like that's literally hunks of mucus was coming out of me. It was disgusting, but it was so good. It was terrible. I had a headache. I was like, this is the worst. Why did I do this? But I was also prepared because I saw other people online talk about, they call it the purge period, which is kind of gross, but I knew about it, so that was okay. I ended up getting constipated because all the extra mucus in my intestines was starting to move forward, and it all got lodged in there. But I ended up drinking a bunch of prune juice. That's a godsend, I will tell you. And then I was fine. I drank a little bit too much of it, if I'm being honest. And that was within the first week. Like, it was like, I was like, oh my god, like, this means I can't take it because of my stomach and blah, blah, blah. But not a lot to say other than, I guess, those things. So, how I'm feeling now. Hi, baby. I have so much energy. I can't remember the last time I took a nap during the day. I guess I forgot to say that in the beginning of the video about before, but I used to, well, yeah, I would lay in bed all day and sleep, like that's literally all I did. And now, I will try to take naps and I can't, because I get bored. I'm like, I want to sleep, and I literally can't. So that's incredible. My breathing is so much better. Even when I can tell I'm getting sick, I can still function. Like, it's still harder to function like a regular human, but it's so much easier than it was. And it's not this whole thought process of I can't do it. Like, I still can do it. I just have to push myself a little bit harder than what somebody without CF would have to. For my weight, to get into the numbers side of it, I weigh right now about 125 pounds. Which is incredible because at 118 pounds, I was officially considered not underweight. I'm trying to get up to 130. I was recently diagnosed with bipolar, and the medicine that I take for that actually has a side effect of weight gain, so kind of hoping that is, I'm kind of hoping that happens, because, like, I need the extra weight, but I would show you, but my cat's on my lap. Well, Toby, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to move you. I'm so sorry. So before I was like a complete stick. I had no shape to me. Toby, hold on. Hold on, baby. Just give me a second. But now, well, I'm wearing a binder, so you can't really see my chest. But normally, like if it would probably be out to here, whereas before I didn't have any shape to me. And my favorite is I have, like, I don't know, these little, like, whatever these things are called, the muffin things or whatever. Oh, sorry, baby. So that's, like, pretty cool. And my arm, before I could go like this and touch my fingers. And now I have that much fat or muscle or whatever. And my face, if you go back and look at any of my older videos from before November, I didn't do my lips like that, but, like, my face was just so sunken in. So it's incredible how well this medicine is working. I've even had to start taking less of my medicine that I take before I eat because my body naturally absorbs things better now. I don't have to eat as many calories as I used to in order to gain weight. I can eat almost like a regular diet, like somebody without CF. I know I still need more, but if I eat a regular diet, aka about 2,000 calories a day, my weight will usually stay about the same, but I usually eat between 2,000 and 3,000 calories a day. But it's incredible. I'm like, because before 3,000 calories a day just wasn't enough, and that was like a good day for me. Whereas now I have good days where I eat 4,000, but typically I'll eat like 2,500, 3,000 calories. But I don't have to constantly be counting my calories, and I don't know, it's really nice. I have so much more energy. I can go on walks. I can go on walks for hours and I'm fine. Just like, I don't know, everything's just so much better. Oh my god, and I didn't even tell you, my PFTs, the last time I was in the hospital, which was a week and a half ago, my PFTs were all the way up to 48%. Like, okay, and like maybe you're like, okay, but I don't even like understand. But like, that's such a big deal. The last time I was at 48%, it was probably 4 or 5 years ago. Like, I don't remember ever being this good. So it's really, really just, I mean, incredible. I don't even know. But I'm really happy with it. Like, it's done so much for me. In 2019, I was in the hospital every other month. I was on antibiotics for a third of the year. This year, I mean, I've still been in the hospital a lot, but specifically for my CF, technically only once since I started Trikafta, but there were 2 other times that they did put me on antibiotics just to be safe. But still, I mean, I don't even know. Like, I'm blown away by this fucking pill. Like, it's literally 3 fucking pills. And it just, like, fixes everything. Like, not completely, but it fixes it enough to the point where I can have relationships with my friends. I can be happy. I mean, part of that is also because I've been now taking medicine for my bipolar. Also, really quick, I forgot to put it in the video. My diabetes. So my blood sugar, I know I went over stuff in the beginning, but after Trikafta, now my blood sugar, at most maybe goes up to like the 300s. And after 2 hours after eating, when it's supposed to be back to normal, it usually is, or sometimes it's a little high, maybe in the 200s, but within 3 hours it's always back to normal. And I haven't been taking insulin, which I know I should be, but what was happening, I would take insulin and then I would crash because it would always make my blood sugar low. Even though I started taking less and less insulin, it didn't matter how much I took, I would always end up getting low. So I don't really take insulin anymore. But it's basically stable now, so that's pretty cool. But everything is just, it's like a whole weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's really a beautiful thing. So yeah, I guess that's it, but I'm gonna go. Bye.